Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Warner, and today I'm going to be demonstrating to you how vertica can be the integration hub for both search and analytics. What I'm going to do today is demonstrate that with the usage of a dashboard. Today I'm going to assume the role of an individual and organization that happens to be a gaming company. And that's what we see on this dashboard is at the very top here, some very detailed information about chats. One of the most important things to our organization is to really understand what's going on in these chat rooms, and we capture that information and load it into a search engine. So when this dashboard renders itself, that's one of the first things that you see at the top there. We could see very quickly that there's some additional attributes in addition to the message, which is in the far right here. This is the actual message that was chatted in those chat sessions, as well as a sender ID. So sender ID is important to us because that allows us to link the chats that we have in these chat rooms to our database in Vertica. So now we can make that linkage and provide more detailed analysis, such as lifetime value of those people that are chatting and things of that nature. So when this dashboard renders, we're actually making 3 separate calls to our chat engine, as I mentioned. One of the things we also do is break out that text into sentiment analysis. I can quickly filter on the people who are negative and what those chats look like. If I want to see the positive ones, I can just select the T there for true. Now underneath the positive sentiment, I can also see the various senders and how many times they have chatted. For instance, sender 2038 has chatted 3 times. I can select that. You can see there very quickly we're making a filter to filter down just those chats for that individual. So what I like about this dashboard allows me to bring together both very detailed information in our chats, and I can see that information very quickly, but at the same time I've got portlets on here that allow me to see at a more aggregation level what's going on with our players, the number of games they're played, broken out. In this particular case, on the left-hand side here, you can see broken out by region. For instance, down here, the Northwest region, we definitely have some work to do there. Compared to the others, we have a few players that are playing that game. We also split that out in this chart down here by the devices that they came in on. What I like about this example here is now we're looking at it, our users come in by various platforms. If I want to see those individuals that came in through the Facebook platform, I can very quickly filter that by selecting this button here, and it will refresh this component so that both of these widgets will be refreshed just for Facebook. What I can also do, if you notice here, I also have some on-report filters, so I can do compare and contrast. I can filter just this portlet, and over here on the right-hand side, keep this one to Facebook. And that's what this portlet over here on the right-hand is showing. It's very similar to the one on the left. It's looking at it broken out by games, by region as well. All of this data here is inside Vertica. What we have is we have really 2 separate tables that we're using to provide the content for these portlets. We have a player dimension table. It has all associated attributes about where they live, the average number of minutes per game, how long they've been a customer, and that sort of thing. We also have another fact table that has all the information about the game itself, what device they were using, when the game was played, what room they were in, that information. So we can now link together the information that we have in Vertica with our chats, and that's what this portlet on the lower right-hand side is showing me. What we do is we have a number of different search terms that are using the Vertica Flex JSON parser to load inside Vertica. Our search engine keeps all this information in JSON and the Flex JSON parser makes it very easy for us to pull that into Vertica into a single table and do analytics on it. We can also add terms to this. I as an individual can easily add additional content to the search terms, but this is done on a nightly basis for us. We also have some data mining algorithms that come up with the best well-known search terms. And you can see here, as I look at this portlet, search term, number of hits, and average score, all of this information came from our search engine. And what we've been able to do is link that to our player dimension table. Now we can break that information out by gender. So that's providing us the glue, the linkage between our search engine and the data that we have in Vertica. If you notice here too, I have another widget on the left-hand side here. Many of our players are very verbal in the Twitter space, so I can hover my mouse over these various boxes, which represents our various users and what they're actually tweeting on. For instance, if I click on Slot Mania, which is another game that we have, and change that, and I hover my mouse over those various boxes, you can see there actually what they're tweeting right now. And there's Joe, one of our more popular users, and I noticed there that he's actually tweeted something about some difficulties with our new game that we rolled out this weekend. What we did is we changed one of our games from an HTML5 to a native app on the Apple platform, and he just tweeted to us that he thought it was rather difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a search on my search engine for the word difficult. And I just put that in the little search box in the upper left-hand side here. You can see here that, yes, indeed, we have 25 situations where people have been have chatted in our chat blogs, and they've been negative about that situation. So I can see here underneath sender ID that it's pretty evenly distributed as well amongst our players. So it's not just one person that happens to be complaining about this. So this might give me some concerns. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and launch into my BI portal and then link the data that we have in Elastic in our search engine with the data in Vertica. So that's what I'm looking at here. This is our player dimension on the left-hand side. All the various attributes for the player. I can break it out by gender. We have their occupation. We've even been to their age and whatnot. This is my games played. This is our fact table. This has all the information about the games, and all this information is in Vertica. You can see here the device platform and whatnot. Down here is the Elasticsearch results. Query subject is the one that we've actually used the Flex.json parser to load data into. So you can see here the room they were in, the session, the type and whatnot. All this came in from the Flex.json parser. At the last query subject down here, it says player dynamic. This is the one that's going to be invoking the vertica UDX. So you remember before, I was looking at Twitter and I found out that Joe, our popular user, said that he thought that our latest rollout of our game happened to be difficult. So what I'm going to do now, difficult wasn't one of those terms that we provided the Flex.json parser to run every night. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dynamically use the vertica UDX through my ad hoc query environment to find out exactly who those people are that have tweeted the word difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply go to my fact table here and start creating a query and start doing some filtering. I know that we rolled this new application out only on our our iPhone devices. So I'm going to filter this information and just look for those iPhone 6 devices. And I know that the platform, once again, the people came in on was Apple. So I'm going to further filter that out just for Apple. And I'm going to now go ahead and take a look at the situation. In this particular case, I want the game version instead of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on my my palette over here. I'm just go ahead and delete the game because I'm really not interested in that. I know all game version 3s is the scenario that we had rolled this new application out on. So I'm just going to filter this information just on the latest game that we rolled out in production. So when I do that, now I can see here that there's about 4,186 individuals that have used an iPhone 6 and the Apple platform and game version 3. So what I want to do now is find out exactly what they were, if any of these individuals have been chatting the word difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invoke the vertica UDX by providing information to these are just prompts here. And this particular case, my search engine has the ability to do wildcard searches. In this case, I want to do an exact match. I'm looking for the word difficult. And this is what I mentioned before. Remember in our game chat session, we have the sender ID. So now what I can do is provide that information to the vertica UDX. It's going to go out there and make a dynamic request, 4,000 separate calls to my search engine to come back and tell me a count of the number of times that these people have actually chatted the word difficult that have used the iPhone 6 game version 3. In this particular case, you can see here that the information came back. There's the person's sender ID. What I want to do now is further filter this count field on just the situations where it's a 1, because these are the people that have indeed used the word difficult in the chat someplace. So now I'm going to see actually who those are, and I'll be able to quickly pull in other attributes from my player dimension to find out their lifetime value, how long they've been a customer. I can do the analysis on the what region they're in. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the player name. I want to add that on here. I want to pick the their average lifetime value is another attribute that's important to me, and average number of days a customer, and click insert. And it's going to go ahead and add those attributes onto my workspace, and then you'll be able to see exactly who these players are. And what I might want to do is, send them a survey or give some additional bonus points if they're finding things difficult to further make them happy. You can see Ben Williams, average lifetime value. He's been a customer for over a year. I can see that Jose Weber has only been a customer less than a year, what their lifetime value is. So this is bringing together the best of both worlds, the search as well as my analytical environment. And as an end user, I can analytics person, I can very quickly see here that bringing the information in together in a single environment allows me to do very detailed analysis to find out the root cause to situations and resolve any particular issues. So in summary, I hope I'll be able to show to you how Vertica architecture can provide both dynamic queries out to your search environment as well as a batch, in a sense, using the Flex.json parser. And I'm hopefully that you can see here that it provides a seamless environment for you to do your analytics. So I appreciate your time, and hopefully it's been beneficial to you. Thank you.